Marvel Rivals is doing us a really great favor by finally propelling Squirrel Girl into the mainstream star she always deserved to be. Squirrel Girl was created by writer Will Murray and some random no-name Steve Ditko. I'm aware that there are some people in my very limited audience who are unaware of who Steve Ditko is. He created a character you may be aware of. He's the co-creator of Spider-Man. She comes from an anthology series called Marvel Superheroes, which I know, yes, is a very original name. Her first story involves her meeting up with Iron Man. Iron Man, as you must occasionally do as a superhero, is wandering through the woods, and a mysterious figure is tracing him. Squirrel Girl is tracing him. This is an incredibly charming little comic because I think it really nails the excitement that kids have around superheroes. And maybe not the exact well-thought planning. Like this panel right here where she says, oh, we can be a superhero team because I live close to here, so I can get home for dinner easily, unless we have to go on a big adventure. At the heart of being a superhero is getting to dress in colorful costumes, having fantastical powers, and going on amazing adventures. Sometimes I feel comic books lose sight of that. And then we get a catalog of Squirrel Girl's powers, which is really interesting. She can jump really far, which we know. In this original issue, she has almost Wolverine-like claws, which I don't remember that ever being a thing in the rest of the comics. Iron Man suggests she should probably look up the X-Men, but this creates an interesting little cultural thing in the Marvel Universe. She doesn't want to be an X-Men. She wants to be an Avenger, partly because kids are making fun of her for being a mutant. But I don't know, there's something very realistic about her being so embarrassed she has to hide behind a tail. This feels real. This feels like a kid who has not really thought everything out all that well and has rushed into this idea. When I was a kid, I once bought a tent because I wanted to live outside. Was not a good idea, but I also love that Marvel is keeping up the tradition of not liking teen sidekicks. Stan Lee has always said he hates that trope, and I like that Iron Man is maybe a little bit more a realistic guy and says, I can't take a kid along with me to do this stuff. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. And just as Iron Man's about to leave, she informs him that she actually did get involved in her very first super fight against an armored guy in a green cloak. And Iron Man can't totally process who she's talking about until it's Dr. Doom. This will start off the very long rivalry that Squirrel Girl and Dr. Doom will have, where inexplicably Squirrel Girl will almost always come out on top. They get abducted and Iron Man can't move because of electronics. And Dr. Doom considers Squirrel Girl so little of a threat that he didn't bother to restrain her, which is a classic villain move. Also, she does have pouches, but it's just full of nuts. And even though macadamia nuts do provide extra pep... Hey, take a look at this. Doesn't it look like he's taking a selfie? I know he's pressing a button to activate the spikes, but doesn't it look like he's taking a selfie right here? Iron Man begs to let Squirrel Girl go, but Doom is Doom, and he's like, no, I need to prove how smart I am. Supervillains always get caught in that trap of needing to prove how smart you are. Just kill them. Don't worry about proving it. She manages to call forth her squirrel friends. Defeat Doom with the power of Squirrel. And Iron Man says, you know what? Finish high school, finish college, then call me up and maybe we can talk. And Squirrel Girl goes into the trees with a song in her heart. I ended up actually really liking this issue. I didn't know what to think going in, but Squirrel Girl and Iron Man surprisingly make an effective comedy pair. The comedy is completely character-driven. Every action has a reaction, and the comedy comes from the way the characters interact with each other, not random, goofy stuff that is just thrown at the characters. I feel like comic book characters are constantly trying to achieve this type of character, an enthusiastic dork who just loves doing what she does. And this comic does it so effortlessly. I'm really quite charmed how almost fully formed the character was right from the beginning. At some point I'll cover the Ryan North run and the podcast.